In this video, we talk about the high-level goal for Blazor in .NET 8. But before we do that, let's take a step back and discuss how we built web apps in .NET 7. First, we used static server rendering or server-side rendering to build server-rendered web applications with frameworks like Razor Pages and MVC. In this model, the browser sends a request to the server. On the server, the request is routed to an endpoint such as a Razor page, and the Razor page executes on the server to dynamically render HTML, and that HTML is added to the response and sent back to the client browser, and the browser then displays the web page. Now, static server rendering has the following benefits. First, the app loads faster because all the work is already done on the server and the client has to simply display the HTML. Second, the app can easily access server resources such as databases. And finally, the site is also easily indexed. But there are a few drawbacks too. The first is that the cost of processing and memory use are concentrated on the server, and the second one is, for every user interaction, a round trip to the server is required. And one issue with frameworks like Razor Pages and MVC is that they lack a component-based programming model for building reusable pieces of web UI. So that was static server rendering. What if we wanted to build interactive web applications in .NET 7? Well, we had the Blazor framework. Blazor is a web framework for building web UI components called Razor components, and these Razor components can be hosted in different ways. First, we have the Blazor server hosting model, where the Razor components are hosted on the server in an ASP.NET Core application. On the client, a Blazor script called blazor.server.js establishes a SignalR connection with the server, and any UI updates, event handling, and JavaScript interop calls are handled over this SignalR connection. Blazor server has the following benefits. First, the app loads faster because the download size is very small. Second, the app can take advantage of server features and the use of .NET APIs. And Blazor server can work with thin clients. For example, browsers that don't support WebAssembly. And finally, the application's code is not served to clients, so it cannot be tampered with. Blazor server has some drawbacks too. First, there is some latency involved because every user interaction needs to go to the server. Second, there is no offline support. And third, server resources are required if you want to scale the app. And finally, an ASP.NET Core server is needed to serve the app. So for example, it is not possible to deliver the app from a content delivery network. Next, we have the Blazor WebAssembly hosting model. In this model, the Razor component executes on the client inside the browser on a WebAssembly-based .NET runtime. So here, a script called blazor.webassembly.js downloads the WebAssembly-based .NET runtime, the required .NET assemblies, and the dependencies from the server, and then the application starts executing on the client inside the browser. Blazor WebAssembly has the following benefits. First, for standalone Blazor WebAssembly apps, the app is functional even if the server goes offline. Next, the capabilities of the client are fully leveraged, and also work is offloaded to the client. And finally, an ASP.NET Core server is not needed to serve a standalone Blazor WebAssembly app. Blazor WebAssembly has a few drawbacks too. First is, the clients need WebAssembly support, and also the app takes longer to load because code has to be downloaded and executed on the client. .NET 7 provides us with two main templates for building Blazor apps. The first is the Blazor Server App template, which is used for building Blazor server applications. The second is the Blazor WebAssembly app template, which is used for building Blazor WebAssembly apps. So that was .NET 7. From what we learned so far, we can identify three issues. The first is that Razor Pages and MVC lack a component model. The second is, what if we wanted to use static server rendering for the homepage of our site, but then add interactivity to individual parts of our site? To do this in .NET 7, we have to combine multiple frameworks like Razor Pages or MVC and Blazor. And the final issue is that when we need to build a Blazor app, we need to make an upfront decision on which hosting model to use. And once we make the decision, the entire application will now be either a Blazor server app or a Blazor WebAssembly app. Now, Blazor in .NET 8 combines the benefits of Razor Pages, MVC, and Blazor and provides us with a consistent component-based programming model for building full-stack web UIs. And in order to support this, new features are added to Blazor, and these are static server rendering and progressive enhancements such as enhanced navigation and form handling, streaming rendering, and the ability to add interactivity using Blazor Server or Blazor WebAssembly on a per component basis. All these features are supported with the new Blazor web app template, so let's talk about that next.